Welcome to Pet Pals. I'm Dee Dee and this is Randy, and as usual we are here at Frederick County Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center, and for the cutest dog you may have seen in a long time is with us, and we're going to bring you some other adoptable animals that are here at the shelter on Rosemont Avenue, and we are beginning with Jacques. Now that's not his real name. And that's not because he is a secret spy with a pseudonym, but it's because he came to us as a stray, if you can believe that. A lot of times people imagine that stray dogs are elderly pit bull mixes that wandered off from their homes, but that's not true. Any dog can become lost, and while we do try to find the owner by using TV, newspapers, radio, web pages, social networking, we are not always successful. So we were not able to find this little Pekingese mix's family, and so he's in need of a new home. He does have one interested application, but it is a couple of days old, so we're not sure if that's going to go through. And there are many reasons that when people apply for a dog, they don't end up taking them home. And that can be the landlord says no, or they go home and they think about it and they realize now's not the right time to get a new dog. But there is just nothing that you wouldn't want about this little guy. He's super cute. Our kennel supervisor is already enamored of him. And as you can see, he's gonna go home with Randy. So, Jacques, or whatever you choose to name him, is going to be neutered and microchipped and vaccinated, and we will give you a coupon to get his rabies shot at a vet of your choice, and that will prepay for his license. There's just nothing you don't get out of getting a shelter dog. He will be examined by a couple of vets before you take him home, and we'll share all their notes with you as well. Should the vets find anything like crooked teeth or a heart murmur or anything like that, they will let you know, and then you can share that with your veterinarian. And also it helps you make a decision about which dog you want to get, because you can find all of that stuff out first. And just what a delightful little dog. If you are interested in Jacques, or you know somebody who might be, or if there's any chance that you know who he belonged to and they are looking for him, they should definitely contact us, because he won't be here very much longer. We are back with our next guest, another Pekingese looking dog, but she is actually a pug mixed with Pomeranian. There is a farm in Jefferson that brought in 4 little dogs together. They're very friendly and sweet dogs, and they're going to make really great pets. She's only about a year old, and don't let her demeanor in here fool you. She's quite gregarious and likes people a lot, and her name is Taterbug, and her owner brought her in because they just have too many dogs right now. And just if you have the question, we have worked with this farm for getting low-cost spay and neuter, and we are trying to help them out to get their dog situation under control. But in the meantime, these 4 little dogs that are here, you're going to meet one more in just a moment, are looking for a new home, and they are raised with cows, chickens, children, kittens, so they have great social skills. And I happen to know a number of people in Frederick who have gotten dogs from this farm or from us through the farm, and they have been very successful pets. So while I definitely do not recommend breeding your pets when you don't have homes lined up for them. And certainly breeding mixed breeds has a risk, because if they do end up in shelters and don't have great personalities or have health problems, when shelters are overcrowded, there's not that many rescues for mixed breed dogs, and of course they're full. So that said, while I do not recommend having puppies without a plan, these particular dogs we know pretty well, and they make really nice pets. So, yeah.
A lot of muscle there.
And yes, Randy's pointing out that they're very fit, because since they've grown up on a farm with freedom to run around and lots of social experiences, they're in great shape. So we will do the same for this little girl that we do for all of the adoptable dogs. She'll be spayed, she'll be microchipped, you'll prepay your license and rabies shot. And so it's a great deal to get a dog from the shelter and have all of these things taken care of before you take them home. But don't let that fool you. Getting any dog means a lifetime commitment and a plan for paying medical bills, especially those that are emergencies. So it's important to have a little money stowed away whenever you have a pet, just in case of emergencies, which hopefully never happen. We are back with Francesca, and Francesca is from the same farm as Taterbug, and she has the same kind of parents. So this is a great example of how different, they're probably sisters, how different dogs with the same parents when they're purebred can be. Sometimes people will call a pug pom or a Maltese poodle a fancy name like Multi-Poo, and think that it becomes a breed, but that's not true. When you breed one purebred with a purebred from another breed, you will not get puppies that look uniform in any way. And that is the case with Labradoodles, surprisingly. Some Labradoodles have straight hair, some Labradoodles have long wavy hair, some Labradoodles have wiry hair, and a few have the curly hair that they're typically known for. Because it's not a breed of dog, they do not all look the same, they're not all the same size, and it's very important for people to understand that while they are called designer dogs, you cannot count on them to act or look the same or even have the same hair coat. So when people say things like Labradoodles are hypoallergenic, it's not true. Poodles tend to keep their hair attached to their body, and you have to brush it out. So that does help people with allergies to manage their symptoms. But there's not a hypoallergenic dog and nor a hypoallergenic cat. So sometimes people can be misled in that kind of marketing of dogs. This little girl is also a year old and will also have all of the same health care before adoption. And yes, and there are two other relatives of these dogs, another sibling and then a younger one that are available now. So if you're interested, come on in and meet all four. Sometimes when we have the TV show, it encourages people to call in and ask questions. And you could probably find out everything you want to know or that we could tell you on the phone on petfinder.com. The best thing to do if you're interested in one of these dogs is to come to the shelter on Rosemont Avenue in person and meet them, because while the TV presentation can show you a little bit of what they're like, it really helps if you come and meet them so that you know if you really are interested.
Black Lab is something else, right?
Our next guest is Sasha, and Sasha's a mixed breed dog. She's probably part American Pit Bull Terrier, and she came to us from a family who said that they couldn't leave her home alone by herself, and so they gave her up to us. And they didn't use a crate to teach her to stay home alone. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that because it is a common complaint of people who have dogs. So Sasha's about 1 or 2 years old, and as you can see, she's a little bit shy, too shy to even eat a treat right now, but she's going to sit up next to Randy so that she can feel better about this camera situation. But when you get a new dog, in order to teach them to stay home alone, the first thing you have to teach them is that you always come back. And you do that by fake leaving. Then you also utilize confinement to keep them safe when you fake leave. So that means putting them in a safe place 5 times a day for no reason. The mistake that people make is they only put them in the safe place when they're leaving, so quickly the dog learns that it is not a safe place, because the place means no friendship, no companionship, no people. But she definitely is anxious about being in a new place, so crate training will really help her, and as will teaching her to be alone. Another thing that you can do to teach dogs to be alone is you can tether them just out of the reach of your chair, and as soon as they become calm, you slide your chair back over in their range and pet them. And if you continue to do that for longer and longer times, you actually teach the dog, as soon as you're out of reach, to lie down. And once you see that happening on purpose, she's trying to move things out of the way so she can look out the window. Once you see her lying down on purpose, then you put that on cue by asking her to settle. And when she will do that 8 times out of 10 when you ask, then you can say settle when you're leaving her alone, and she'll know that it's okay to be calm. So these are all problems that can be solved and we can help you with. If you think that you can help Sasha learn that people are never gonna leave and go away and never be seen again, then she might be the right dog for you. You might be the right person for her. And we are back with Priscilla. Priscilla also came to us as a stray, if you can believe that. So this little dog was walking around Jefferson for about a week until a very kind lady stopped and asked the neighbors, and they said that they could not find the owner. She had been out there for several days, and so she gathered her up and took her to her house, and she was a lot thinner then, if you can believe that, because she's quite tiny. She doesn't even weigh 3 pounds. And the woman who rescued her has several small dogs, so she said she was willing to keep her. But of course she wanted to try and find out if something bad happened to her owner or if she was missing from her family. So she brought her to us. We estimate that she's about 10. There's no way to know for sure, but we're taking a guess based on her body condition. And she needs to have her teeth cleaned, and we have 2 wonderful sponsors who have volunteered to pay for that. Uniting to Save Animals is always willing, if you adopt a senior animal, to help you with their initial vet visit. So that is something you might want to consider if you have thought about taking a tiny little dog like this. But the home that we're looking for her is a little particular. We want to find a home with no small children because she is a very friendly dog and a doll to everyone of every age. But she would be very easy to break if she got stepped on, and she follows right close behind your feet. So she also needs to finish her house training, which she is halfway done with. One of our foster homes takes her home every night, so she doesn't have to stay here in the shelter. We will be back in just a moment with more adoptable pets. We're going to bring you about 5 cats for you to see. And you should always remember, when we show you these animals, that we have 200 animals in our care right now. We certainly don't have time to put them all on the show. Many of them have appeared in past episodes, which you can check out. But we try to show you a variety each time so that you can get an idea of the animals that are here. But we additionally have 4 rabbits, a guinea pig, some gerbils, and a hamster. And we're going to be back with some cats in just a moment. I hope you join us.
Ever wonder whether something is recyclable or not? Or maybe you forgot to set your cart out at the curb. Now there's an app for that. Download the free My Waste app for tablets and smartphones to have convenient access to a wide range of recycling and disposal information. Be notified of upcoming events, see your recycling schedule and set customized reminders, as well as instantly report curbside problems. Find out more at frederickcountymd.gov/mywaste.
We are back with some adoptable cats from Frederick County Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center on Rosemont Avenue. And our first guest is Chevy, a beautiful tortoiseshell cat. And all tortoiseshell cats are, well, she's actually called Torby because she has tortoiseshell coloring and tabby stripes. And they are almost always female. She is a tiny cat, and she's not going to get bigger.
You're not going there.
She is about 3 years old, and her family gave her up simply because they couldn't afford the veterinary expenses of having a cat. And I will tell you that the cost of having a cat can be minimal. You need to buy kitty litter on a regular basis. You don't need to buy a cat bed because they will sleep on any soft blanket or on you. You don't even need to buy cat toys because balling up a little piece of paper and playing with it can be lots of fun for a cat. Ping pong balls in the bathtub, there's all kinds, the dry bathtub, all kinds of things that cats like to play with. But what you do need to do is to keep the rabies shot up to date, and that means you need to keep her physical up to date. And cats should get a checkup every year, so you have to put a little bit of money away for that. But we also talked about in our previous segment emergency vet bills. It may never happen in her whole life. You may never have an emergency where she has to be rushed to the veterinarian to find out what could be wrong with her. And those emergencies can include anytime your pet is listless or seems to have labored breathing, or seems to be in pain, which would be limping or vocalizing, or is shivering continuously. Now, of course, if you have a little dog like Priscilla, she might just shiver because she's chilly and trying to get attention. But that trembling is a sign of pain. You should at least call your vet when you see that, and obviously bleeding or broken bones. You can also check with your vet if there's any sneezing, coughing, runny eyes, runny nose. Diarrhea is something that you should always check with your vet about. They usually will give you some instructions for a bland diet, but if that doesn't work, they do need to see the doctor. So you need to have some money set aside for veterinary emergencies. And as I said, it may never happen in the life of your pet, but it usually does. Most of us have had to go to urgent care a time and again, and the same goes for pets. So if you think that this little girl would make a good addition to your family, then come and meet her, or any of our other cats, because this time of year we have so many kittens, and the older cats sometimes wait a little bit longer to get a home. Our next guest is Shocky, and Shocky is a 5-year-old male kitty. And what that means, his age, 5 years old, means that his adoption fee is discounted $20. And he was declawed by his previous owner. And what that means is that his toes were amputated so that he wouldn't be able to do any damage to furniture. And while we certainly don't recommend that, we would tell you if you adopted a cat that's intact, that has its claws, we would tell you how to train them so they don't ruin your belongings. But there are people who particularly look for cats who are declawed. And one of the reasons they might look for that is there are some people that have health conditions that mean it would be a great risk to them if they got scratched by a cat, even inadvertently. And there are people who just prefer that they have declawed cats. And what I liken it to is kind of extreme, but I tell this story on purpose so that people can understand. It's just a cultural thing that we're okay with removing the toes of cats. Some veterinarians won't do it. My husband and sister, for example, are veterinarians who do not declaw. And this kitty has already been done, is already healed, so if that's something that you're looking for, then you might be interested in adopting Shocky. But the story that I tell is that if you had a puppy and the puppy chewed up your brand new boots and you called me and I said, oh, you could take your puppy to the vet and have him sedated and given pain medicine and get all of his teeth removed and his gums would grow over and he would heal and still be able to live a normal life. Most people would be horrified by that, and most veterinarians wouldn't do it. But for some reason, culturally, we do accept managing cat behavior problems surgically and not so much dog behavior problems. And I think that in part, that's maybe the value that we put on dogs rather than cats, which is a shame, because cat people will tell you that if you are suited to having a cat as a companion, it's a very valuable relationship, and they become family members, of course, just like a dog. And so we would absolutely try to do everything you can do before having a surgical solution for your behavior problems. But as I said, some people are looking for declawed cats, and so Shocky is available. Quite a beautiful cat. He's a little shy, as you can see, in a new place, and that's pretty normal for cats. So, so if you think that Shocky would make an addition to your family, then please come and meet him, because as you can see, he has a lot to say for himself. Our next guest is Clarabelle. Clarabelle is a 1 or 2 year old spayed female. She was found in Emmitsburg, and she does have all of her claws. So what we would recommend if you adopt Clarabelle is that you offer her some corrugated cardboard or a carpet remnant that she can claw while she is spending her introductory 1 week in your bathroom. We recommend that for several reasons. One, to make sure that your kitty feels at home before you give them access to the house, because if cats are scared, they'll hide someplace, and it'll usually be someplace really inconvenient for you. And then you won't get to know her right away, and it'll take longer to get the bonding process completed. I don't think Clarabelle's going to have any problem with that because she loves people. But once cats are attached to something that they scratch on, even if you move that thing, they tend to stick with it. So you're not going to have to worry about your other belongings. But in the event that you were to notice her scratching on anything you don't want her to scratch on, the bathroom allows you to lock her away when you're not supervising her, and to teach her not to scratch when you are supervising her by making a startling sound. A can with pennies in it works, rattling a piece of paper, something like that. And you can teach her that scratching something makes you behave very unstably, and then that makes her not want to do it. But the other thing you can do is you can take two-sided contact paper and stick it on the thing that you don't want her to scratch. Cats have a little bit of fur on their pads in between their toes, so when they touch that two-sided contact paper, the fur pulls and they don't like it anymore, and they will avoid that object. One thing you can also do when you get something new, like let's say you get a new wingback chair. Well, that's just an invitation to a cat to say, hey, I live here, this thing is new, this wasn't here before. Make sure you protect that new item with supervision and the two-sided contact paper. Once the cat is not interested in it, you peel that off and everything goes back to normal. So, you know, cats are pretty smart. They can learn things about their environment, or they wouldn't even survive in it, because cats, unlike dogs, are both predatory animals and preyed upon. So they have to be smart and wary and careful. So they're very easy to train as long as you make them care about what you want them to care about. So Clarabelle is a beautiful little young cat, and she is in need of a home. She doesn't look like a kitten despite her youth, so right now she's in competition with all of our tiny ones. So if you are interested in Clarabelle, please stop by and meet her. As you can see, she really likes people, and she needs a home of her own.
She does like people.
We are back with Binky, and Binky is an 8-year-old Himalayan cat, and he's a little bit nervous about being on TV, but he does like people, likes to be pet. But we always talk about this. Cats that come to the shelter feel very secure in the cage that they live in because their food comes there. And you can only approach them from the front in the cage. You can't sneak up behind them. You can't reach down from above. And that is preferable to cats. A lot of times we imagine what it would be like for a person, and we say, oh my gosh, I would never want to be in a little stainless steel box with bars on it. Of course we wouldn't. But when we go to a strange city, we happily pay for a hotel room, which is tiny and just has a bed in it. But that's because we can keep our stuff there and we can sleep safely there with the door locked, and it gives us the ability to go to a strange place and set up temporarily and then come back home. Well, cats feel the same way about the shelter. It's like a little hotel. Obviously, they would like to have their own house with a kitchen and everything that we like, but temporarily they are okay with staying in a room where they have room service and housekeeping and whatnot. And so for Binky to be picked up and brought into this room, he has to be concerned with, is that window open? Can anybody come in from behind the chair? Are you gonna drop me? Are there hawks here? So he's got all those questions right now. And by Randy sitting next to him calmly and petting him, he's letting him know, check it out, everything's okay, we got your back. And he literally has his back. So that makes Binky feel a little bit safer. Now, that move of Binky drawing back was because someone is in our hallway opening and closing doors. Binky can clearly hear that. So he's thinking, is someone coming in? Am I going to be okay? Is this the vet? Am I going to have surgery? All kinds of questions that they have. And the reason the show goes so much better with Randy here than the episode you saw with just me is because Randy, while I'm talking, is letting cats know with his body language all the answers to those questions. So, and he's a beautiful Himalayan that is not matted or anything, so he takes good care of his coat. So I think he's going to make somebody really happy, especially someone who appreciates beautiful cats. We are back with Leo, and Leo is a beautiful cream-colored cat. Leo came to us because his owner's dog didn't like him. So sometimes that happens. Pets don't get along and you have to choose between your new pet and your former pet. And especially with cats, because a lot of people take in stray cats and they don't know how it's going to work out. And they may think that they're just taking the cat in temporarily because they want to make sure that the owner's not looking for him. So they do their best to check out in their neighborhood, is someone looking for this cat who is friendly and apparently belonged to someone. But the people who brought him in said they could not work out the differences between the dog and the cat, which is not always the case. I have dogs and cats in my home and they get along great. But individuals are individuals and you never know what will happen. So that's another reason that we recommend the week in the bathroom when you get a new pet, is to help with the introduction to existing pets, which if you decide to adopt, we will talk to you all about how to do it. So thanks for joining us on Pet Pals. Hopefully you've seen some animals, learned something, or got an idea for something that we could show in a future show. And if you do, let me know. We're always looking for things we can do that will help you and help our animals. But if you are not in a position to adopt right now, which many people are not because you're doing your share and you have your pets and they're sheltered and cared for, you can go to petfinder.com to find one of these animals' profiles and share it on social networking or print it and post it somewhere. Or you can go to Pet Tango, do the same. You can also come into the shelter and talk to us about volunteering if you want to help out the animals that are here. Or you can check out Facebook, and Randy will snip up this show in little pieces so that each animal can be featured separately on their Pet Finder and Pet Tango sites in case you want to share the video. Or you can just share the link at the bottom of your screen to this entire show with anyone you think might be interested. It helps us get the word out about what we do and the animals that we currently have that are in need. So thanks for joining us, and we will see you next time on Pet Pals.